folks, welcome back to the channel. This is the Total Movie Recall channel. I'm Ellis. I'm joined by Paul Tams, and we're here today to review Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. All right, mate. I didn't think we were going to be getting another one of these, but Wes Ball, our director here, gave us the goods. And just up front, guys, I think he's done a pretty good job. I wouldn't say he's done an amazing job. If I'm going to compare this to the prior three from Matt Reeves, not as good. But to be fair, with how high them films are, it done a pretty good job to get near it. So, yeah, this one's directed by Wes Ball, who's actually going to be directing the new and upcoming Zelda game, I think, for Nintendo, which is going to be which is going to be live action as well, I think. But, yeah, so my overall little thoughts on this film, I enjoyed it for the most part. There's not really a hell of a lot that I didn't like about it. And I think maybe that's the criticism I have. It's remarkably safe, I feel. Not cliched, but definitely safe in its structure, the way the film plays out, and some of its characters. In this one, we are following Noah, and he is part of an eagle fraction within this universe. I need to say up top where this is centuries, I think, after...
It's like 300 years, I think it says.
300 years after the events of the previous trilogy with Caesar. And sort of, it gets into that right up front because, like, we see the funeral of Caesar right at the beginning. And that's how we sort of enter the film with that amazing score that's been in the last couple of films from Michael Giacchino. He didn't return for this one, which it was definitely apparent, if you ask me. That was one of my big negatives with the film, but we'll get onto them a little bit later. You know, we are 4 films into this new iteration of the franchise now, and we're still saying the same thing. Oh, well, I am. The effects are absolutely phenomenal. And I think with this film, because it's dealing with the elements more, so like sand, water, a lot more elements than we previously did. I think the effects look even better. Like on the apes, like the face and stuff like that is just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, guys, the story of this one, we follow this eagle fraction, and it basically gets torn down, and we're on this journey with Noah to basically go and find his family that's all been captured. Pretty basic story, if you ask me. But good nonetheless. I didn't love this film. I saw it a week ago. I've forgotten bits of it. I can't lie. So that doesn't give me much faith in how I'm going to view this film in the future. But as far as performances go, all amazing. Noah, as our lead, who's played by Owen Teague, I think it is. He's pretty good. Pretty good. His sort of biggest attribute to this film is that he's a really clever ape. He's not like strong or anything like that. His whole thing is that he's clever, and the way he gets himself out of certain situations, a lot like the first intro of the film where you see them climbing for the eagle eggs that they've got to bring back for the ceremonies and stuff like that, and they can't cross this certain cavern, and the way he figures it out is just like, so that's a really good introduction to our main lead, who we're going to be focusing on in this film. All the ape stuff's really good. Really enjoyed it. For me, it's when the humans sort of get introduced to this film that it stumbles a little bit for me. Our sort of main lead female in this is Freya Allen. Haven't really seen much of her work prior to this. I think she was on the Witcher series on Netflix. Right. But she's pretty good. She's just unbelievably smoking hot for this bloody franchise in this post-apocalyptic world, but it is what it is. But my overall thoughts and feelings of the film, I enjoyed it. It doesn't really come close to the last two. It maybe trumps Rise of the Planet of the Apes for me. I think it maybe is a little bit better than that James Franco one, but it's been a while since I've seen that one. But yeah, Paul, overall thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, mate? Enjoyed? Okay.
Yeah, I really I really enjoyed it. I did a bit of a Planet of the Apes deep dive just leading up to this film, so I watched all of them, including the original ones, and rewatched the newest trilogy, which admittedly I hadn't watched in about 4 or 5 years, all the way through all 3 of them. I like this film. I thought it was a great continuation. I liked the world building. The 300 years later, they're getting closer to that original 60s one. We're teeing up closer to that, where the apes are really getting smart and it's really becoming the Planet of the Apes now.
Yeah.
I love the design of the world, that sort of dystopian sort of Last of Us feel, which I love that anytime they sort of anything uses that sort of stuff where everything's all overgrown over the buildings and all that sort of stuff. That to me, I just love all that. So visually, it was amazing. I think it was Weta who did the special effects for this movie. Oh my god, like
phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. 10 out of 10. The effects were amazing. Story wise, yeah, it was a bit safe. It didn't have that oomph that the Matt Reeves movies did. Didn't have that what's the word I'm looking for? Like then they've got so many themes going through those Matt Reeves movies that this
it's
one
so
just
emotional. In my opinion.
You really get into the emotion of the characters, and everything. This one just felt like a nice adventure film. There was some emotional bits in it. You know,
the first 20 minutes is pretty heavy.
But yeah, I admit, like you said, it is a bit more of a safer film. It felt like the introduction of a new trilogy. I felt the same with this. The same feelings I had when I first watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Walked out, really enjoyed that film. Cool, a new Planet of the Apes films. It wasn't until the sequels come along that really brings that trilogy together. And I'm hoping that happens with this one. I'm hoping by the second one, we get sort of the Dark Knight version of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, where it really opens up the story. And it tees it up at the end. I won't go into spoilers yet, but it tees it up at the end where it can really start playing with some cool story ideas in the next one. But as a intro, I think they're teeing this up as a trilogy. As the first movie, as the first movie of a trilogy, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again.
I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Yeah,
100%.
My only negative for this one, for me, I felt it was a bit too long. Again, I think it was 20 minutes, a bit too long. I think it needed tightening up a little bit.
It's quite, you know what? So I was fully prepared to come out of the movie saying, "Oh yeah, it was too long for me," but it really wasn't. Like, not for me. And I'm only speaking about my personal thing, but I just think the way the film's structured, yeah, it's very safe, but it sort of goes along at a nice pace. Maybe it's the first 25 minutes are a little bit slow, or maybe it's after the first 20-minute intro of the film, after the devastation sort of happened. Won't spoil exactly what goes on there. But when we meet our sort of Raka, he's called, who one of the best parts of the movie for me. Maybe he's not in it enough for me.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. I really, in fairness, I know we've been saying it's safe. It does take some swings. So, like, it lures you in with characters that you're like, oh, I'm probably going to be going on a bit of a journey for the next 9 hours worth of trilogy that we're going to be getting. Oh, no. I won't say exactly who that is, but, But, yeah, guys, I'd recommend it. I just don't go in expecting this is like Dawn or War, because it's really not. I think the human element was strong in Dawn, definitely, with the likes of Gary Oldman and Jason Clarke. And I think it was in War, to be honest, with Woody Harrelson. He was a multi-dimensional character. It wasn't just straightforward villain there, which I really enjoyed. Obviously, in this new film, we've got the humans now, and now the sort of distinct sort of...
That's right.
We don't see them a lot, which I found very interesting. I thought one of the funniest parts of the film where Raka and Noah are in a shopping mall, and they were like, "Oh, the apes built this for the humans."
Yeah,
that's so funny.
It's like history's been passed down differently to them.
Yeah, 100%. But we've also got William H. Macy in this, who's one of the human characters. Not in it for a great deal, but I sort of liked that the motivations of that character and how we sort of what his job role is within this universe. It shows you really where the humans, if they don't have a strong moral center, where they could go later on. They could just give in to the apes, which they do now, run this world pretty much. But like you were saying earlier on, Paul, we've got that original trilogy that's sort of the setup, right? This first film also feels like a bit of a setup, which is a bit of a negative for me, right? Mm-hmm. I'd rather just be a bit more further forward into this. So I haven't seen that original Planet of the Apes. I haven't seen the OG ones. I've only just seen this new iteration, and I've seen the Tim Burton one. So what I'll say, off just going off what I've seen in the past, I'd love to see an updated version of the Tim Burton one where they're all like fully sort of, they've got armor that they're making and stuff like that, all like where it's been expertly crafted and stuff like that. They're a real civilization, that they're higher power now, and I would love to see that. And this film is definitely going there. You know what? Right? So guys, we're just going to go full on spoilers from here on out. I recommend it. Not amazing. I think I'm going to go 3.5 stars out of 5, but it's definitely worth a watch if you like the other 3. Paul, worth a watch, mate?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. After, we've got a couple of nitpicks here and there. I think it does drag on a little bit longer. I think it could have been shaved, tightened up a little bit more. But if this is the first of another trilogy, it was a good starting point. Right. I walked out happy with it. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Cool, man. All right, guys, just getting into a little bit of spoilers here. Did you have a theory about who Nova was at the beginning? So when she first pops on the scene, because obviously you've seen the rest of the franchise, as in the OG ones. So did you have any thoughts about like, I wonder if this is who this person is?
Yeah, so spoilers for the original film if you've never seen that. Are you okay with this, Ellis?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So you have Charlton Heston's character, Captain Taylor. When he lands on the Planet of the Apes, he finds a female human, and that character's name, he calls her Nova because she's mute.
Oh, right. I need to see the first film, guys.
Right, yeah, so... and obviously, these new versions are sort of reboots of them. They're not carrying on from them. They're sort of the new version of Planet of the Apes. So
is this a prequel?
Sort of, yeah. But so if you think of the original 68 as that's the last one,
right?
That's the destination. We're on the destination to get to there. Right. But those original ones are in like an alternate unit, like they're not connected to these. So when I heard they say her name's Nova, I was like, oh, it's just a tip of the hat to that character from the original film. Right. And then the more I was watching it, it's like, oh, is she going to be the new version of that character? Eventually, will we get to that? By the end, I don't think that. I still think it's another tip of that. I still left the film thinking, oh, the character's name was just a tip of the hat to the original film, because her name in the film is May as well, isn't it? And then you go, May. When I heard them say Nova, I was like, it must be I think it's just a tip of the hat. They might connect it back to that original film somehow in the next couple of films, because she's going to be back in it, going off the ending. But we'll see.
My theory was, when I was watching it, right, I thought, is she an astronaut? So she's been out in space, like on like a ship somewhere, like miles away, and they've sort of been looking at like what's been going on, basically. I thought she was an astronaut because when I was looking at her clothes, they sort of reminded me of like the underline of what an astronaut would sort of wear in space. So I was like, I wonder if this is who that is. But then obviously it later reveals that she's being sent on like an ulterior motive mission to get these details that they need for satellite. So at the end of the film, are they reaching out to other fractions on this planet, or are they reaching out into space? Because they're big old satellites, aren't they?
Yeah. I took it as they're trying to find other people on the planet to sort of revolt back up against the apes. That's how I took it. Because I'd watched that original film sort of fresh in my memory, I was playing with that idea as well. I was like, they're going to tee it up and lead it into that original movie. But yeah, I took that ending as she's got the codes. She was like a spy for this faction of people who were hidden in this satellite base. Her whole character arc is she was playing the role of one of the humans that were
captured
in the wild, the mutes and whatnot. And then you find out at the end, the spoiler is, the twist is she isn't. And then she's got the codes for the satellites, and I believe that they're contacting they see if they can find other people in the world to revolt back up against the apes, and I feel like that's what will be the next film.
Right. I'm just my worry is just like, is this different enough from that original trilogy to get people coming back? Because it was just a bit. At the end of this film, I was just a bit like, I have sort of seen this all before. Don't get me wrong. Like, loved Kevin Durand in the movie. Like, his whole
season was great.
Yeah, what a lovely day! Like, it's so good, man. And it's even better when you see Kevin Durand, and I think it's Owen Teague and interviews and stuff for this film. And when they get into like character,
they're doing it. Yeah,
I was like, whoa, that's pretty sick, man. But yeah, guys, like, I haven't got any like overall mega negatives with this film. Maybe Raka was took out of the film a bit too quick, but I think because I didn't stay, but I think I've heard that there was an end credits scene after the credits. No,
there isn't one.
All right, so there's no Raka just like moving.
No, unfortunately not. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you do this. I always Google just before I go in, is there an end credit scene to the film?
I don't do it before, I do it after stupidly.
While the credits going, yeah, there isn't one for this. But I do agree with you. It feels like for the next film, they're going to do another one. If this does well enough, they need to do another one. They need to make it different from Dawn, because they're going to go there again, aren't they? They're going to go just humans versus apes again. We've done it.
Yeah, you just you're driving yourself into that driveway there. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've done this before. We've done it before. So I'd be interested to see where it goes. We're definitely going to get more, because weirdly, it's like one of the highest earning films of this year, which I wasn't fully expecting. You know, we've had the likes of Fall Guy come out, and it's been, I wouldn't say it's a flop, but it hasn't done what people were expecting it to do. Who knows what Furiosa's going to do over the weekend when that comes out. But yeah, semi-good blockbuster. I don't regret seeing it or anything like that. I recommend it. It's a slight recommend. You know, if you miss it, it's fine. Watch it on streaming. You'll be all right. It's not that much of a spectacle. Like I said up top, my only one big negative with this, Michael Giacchino's score, mate. That should have come back. But you know what? You know what the problem is? They show
Reeves and Giacchino had gone to Batman. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, which is fair. If you're gonna go anywhere, I'll let you off with that one, right? But the problem I've got with it, Paul, is like they do that score right at the start of the film. Like they have that epic score right at the start of the film, so it really put me back into this world. And like at the end of the film, I was like, we haven't heard any of the score from the previous trilogy, and you know, I wasn't expecting Giacchino to be back, but just when I heard them the first couple of minutes of the film, I was like, oh, he must be back. Then
they could have just incorporated some more of that score into the film.
I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, it's one of them. But yeah, folks, I think that'll about do us. Any more negatives or anything like that, Paul?
No, I'm going to go slightly against you, though. I do actually recommend checking this out on the big screen. I don't think it's worthy of sitting off and waiting for streaming. I think it's that good, you know, that the special effects and the sound design, and I just feel like it's a film that is made for the big screen. But if you can't be arsed, wait for streaming.
It's only my personal thing, folks. I'm sure the majority is going to go and watch this and have a really good time. It's just like we don't normally do these reviews this late, and I saw this over a week ago, so it's like I've already forgotten a lot of it, which isn't a good sign. But whatever, I will be watching it when it comes out on 4K. I bet it looks immaculate on 4K. Be looking forward to that. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there, mate, if that's all right with you. This has been the Total Movie Recall channel. That's been Paul. I've been Ellis, and we will catch you next time, folks. All right, guys. See you later.